Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Ashikin Binti Mizan and I am the first presenter.
Hi and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is NURUL MAHADZIR and I am the second presenter.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is ARIFAH and I am the third presenter.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is FATINI Binti and I'm the fourth presenter.
Assalamualaikum. My name is BALQIS Binti AZMI. I'm the fifth presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is ERDYNA KARMILA and I am the last presenter.
Traditional public administration structure has been subjected to severe criticism in recent years, particularly due to organization failure to fulfill their expectation. The concept of TPA in the 1870s was developed by Max Weber. This model originated in the context of industrial civilization and was built based on comprehensive rules and formalism, impersonal, strict hierarchy, and centralist characteristic. The TPA also has a tendency to become overly bureaucratic and inflexible.
First of all, the word bureaucracy comes from the French word bureau, which means desk, and the Greek word kratos, which means system. The term Weberian bureaucracy was introduced by Max Weber during the years 1864 until 1920. This model explains the type of government system that has rational dominance based on legal legitimacy with authority based on rule or norm and procedure. There are 6 principles of Weberian bureaucracy, which among them are specialized rule, formalization of rules, and more.
The term of new public management was coined by Hood and Jackson in the year 1991 as a new ideology to replace the TPA model. The rapid changes in the global economy and situation make some of the practices in the TPA is no longer relevant to be applied. Factors which support the relevancy of NPM to be applied in Malaysia is due to NPM stress on the efficiency of public management, promotes competition in the public sector through the term contracts, and lead to maximum utilization of resources and cost saving through output-based indicator in MBS and privatization effort.
Fundamentally, red tape is a term that refers to rules and regulation, procedure as well as systems that are no longer effective in achieving their intended goals. The effect of red tape on organizational performance is one of the most detrimental effects the organization may suffer due to excessive bureaucracy system. Not only that, negative effect of red tape will also influence citizen satisfaction as a stakeholder, as they are the one who will be confronting with burdensome of governmental rules and regulation. According to article in Malaysia, the Penang Chinese Chamber of Commerce said that unnecessary red tape has made the process of hiring foreign workers complicated because there is intermediary rules during the process. This is where we can see that the red tape has caused troublesome to various parties since it delayed the process of decision making.
Secondly, the practicable implementations of the total impersonal approach lead to the Weberian bureaucracy become more complex, specific, formalized, and fundamentally a set of rules. In this context, it clearly shows that the Weberian model requires all the bureaucrats to do their best in the organization without relying on the emotional reasoning or impersonal consideration when making a decision. Every interaction an official has, whether internal or external to the company, it is based on the rules and regulation only. For instance, in Labour Act 1955 stated that there is only provide 3 days to the male employee for the private company if they apply for the paternity leave. This shows that this personal issue will not be compromised in the Weberian model.
The next condition is abuse of power. Abuse of power is the practice of taking special privileges from others in a certain organization, government office or other setting. Higher ranking officials who abuse their position of power typically harass the subordinate, which has a negative impact on both the performance and the profitability of the organization. The fact that in the Weberian hierarchy structure, the leader of an organization is the only one who can make decisions, giving him an excessive amount of authority that he might abuse, because he is the most influential person in the organization. For instance, harassing or abusing subordinate, such as make repeated unpleasant comment, make light of the employee job or persona. It is to create a sense of worthless, in the workforce, encouraging them to follow the irrational direction from their superiors.
Next issue is over-specializations of work and tasks. It can be defined as specialized to an excessive degree which limit, restrain or restrict an individual to perform specific tasks that are not listed in their job scope. Weber argued that task specializations encourage the execution of work at the maximum degree of skills and completion of work on time. Thus, civil servant will be divided into the categories and placed in different departments with a comprehensive job description. When a procedure and job description are overly strict and complex, workers are denied autonomy and independence and also limiting the capability of civil servant to share their ideas to the organisation.
The first cause is absence of work delegation. In traditional public admin, it lacks work delegation since each bureaucrat specializes in specific job with clear division of labor. Due to this over-specialization in organization, it has led to division of labor with specific spheres of competence legitimized as official duties and power. So each office, for example, was perceived to have its own area of competence where they must act according to the specific limits set upon them. In addition, lack of work delegation has limited each bureaucrat idea to the betterment of the organization, where simple tasks couldn't be performed effectively without proper allocation of work and tasks.
The main causes that make the issue of abusing of power happen is because of the bureaucrats offered fixed salaries. Fixed salaries here refer to the fact that the government's pay will be constant up until the end of the employment period without any change. In a simple word, the concept of increment salary is not applied in Weberian bureaucracy at all, where the bureaucrats need to accept the salaries offered even though they already give the full commitment or 100% effort on their task until they retire. For example, if they continue to be paid a fixed salary, surely they will start to feel that their salary is not enough, coupled with the cost of living which is increasing day by day. This kind of situation lead to the employees to become demotivated with their work and eventually tend to be corrupt.
Based on traditional public administration, the existence of complex structures that have multiple layers of different procedures has made the decision-making process to be difficult. In this circumstance, a poor communication might be happen. The complexity of the procedure and structure can somehow become burdensome when the sources of the information pertaining to that particular procedure is limited and confusion issue arises. For instance, the complexity of the structure in Malaysia has become the 9th most complex jurisdiction in the world for international business to operate in, mainly because the process in Malaysia can take up to a month. This circumstance has shown that Malaysia is still bound by a bureaucracy system where unnecessary process need to be gone through, which definitely take a quite longer period of time.
The last causes is rigidity of the Weberian system and procedure. According to the Cambridge Dictionary 2022, rigid here could be defined as the fixed method or rules that are not permitting any change and must be followed truly. In Malaysia, public sector organisation entail the establishments of the formal and written guideline for conduct of all duty performed by the government workers. Therefore, when the procedure becomes too rigid, it will tend slowly decision making since the decision must be made to all the levels. As for the example, not all Muslim women wears hijab, but Islamic company in Malaysia like a Lembaga Tabung Haji require them to obey the dress guideline.
The first effect is red tape can hinder the growth of organisation. It is the goal of every employee to complete the task assigned to them effectively when they arrive at work. Sadly, there are situations when rigid and complex internal organizational process hinder employee from performing well. In addition, multi-level decision-making procedures slow down production and may irritate staff members who are just trying to do their job. This kind of multi-layer decision-making slow down employee productivity and may be detrimental to commitment, enthusiasm, and overall organizational growth, as well as the bottom line. For instance, Malaysia is no longer on the mind of foreign investor (FDI). It is because the government has a tendency to believe that by having established and functioning regulatory agency, they will be able to support investor or enterprise. So it might seem yet, but it's not true.
Next is customer dissatisfaction. Customer dissatisfaction may be caused by the quality, pricing, usability of product as well as the poor customer services offered by the employee. Traditional public administration operates based on formal rules, administrative regulation, and procedure. Hence, administrator and bureaucrat must adhere to the written rules established by the organization to carry out the assigned task consistently. As a result, this bureaucrat must go through a few procedures to resolve an issue in its operation, primarily in customer service. So due to this tough and complicated procedure, the employee who assigned to the task became demotivated and lacked enthusiasm, resulting in poor customer service handling.
Next, the third effect can cause a delay in decision making in the public sector. The practice of the extreme specialization will likely result in a delay in the work because employees are assigned based on the specialized and unique duty, and this can cause the officer of the lower level to falsely obey the instruction and choices being taken by the officer at a higher level. For example, customer service representative of the immigration departments of Malaysia will likely always have a tough and challenging situation when solve the every unexpected customer problem. However, the situation could not be solved immediately as they need a permission from the higher authority.
The next effect is employee demotivated. Weberian bureaucracy can result in excessive red tape that can lower motivation and job satisfaction, whereas highly driven professionals are less sensitive to rules and regulation. Employee demotivation can result from a variety of factors, including a lack of creative freedom. Additionally, TPA lacks employee empowerment since it forces employees to take orders from superiors without giving them a chance to express their own opinion and ideas. As a result, employees lose their capacity to come up with novel ideas. For instance, the Weberian bureaucracy only engage in the interaction that are appropriate for the job. Any kind of personal interaction in the workplace was discouraged by the Weber.
Over-centralized structure in the hierarchy in the public sector makes decision-making process time-consuming and difficult. Thus, a public sector organisation need to shift from unified management system to decentralization of organizational structure. Decentralization is a type of organizational structure in which top management delegate decision-making and daily operation to middle and lower subordinates. For instance, through administrative decentralization, there are several departments and agencies under the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industry (MAFI), which plays different types of roles to support the functions of MAFI, such as FAMA, Department of Agriculture, and many more. As a result, it helped to reduce the burden of public organizations and allow the top management to concentrate on taking a major decision.
To overcome the issue of bad quality services during bureaucracy era, the best solution is by emphasizing the involvement of private enterprise in the provision of service to increase the quality of government service. This effort means the government needs to bring in all the values, norms, working styles and attitudes of private service to the government. As everyone knows, the private service quality during that time is already far above, especially when they have long practice various quality approaches such as TQM, Six Sigma and ISO 9000. For instance, the government decided to implement the privatization such as the National Electricity Board become Tenaga Nasional Berhad, Civil Aviation Department DCA become Malaysia Airports Berhad and more.
First and foremost, the empowerment of employees is very important due to the fact that they are the one who will execute all the procedure that has been established. When we talk about performance-oriented, it gives a positive perspective on how the employee may execute their work by encouraging a creative as well as innovative critical thinking skill. They are able to increase their productivity at the workplace, which indirectly give a huge impact to their motivation and performance since the satisfactory at the workplace has been achieved. The autonomous in decision making will allow them to provide a better service to people since they will have a greater flexibility when confronting with unexpected circumstances, and this is where we can see the performance oriented has been focused on.
The next solution is to increase the degree of flexibility rather than rigidity. Organizational flexibility is best defined as the ability to quickly shift execution to a new initiative. And to maintain its competitive position, a flexible organization is the one that can adapt and respond to changes in the external environment relatively quickly. Rigidity in the organization needs to be transformed into one culture that is flexible, innovative, dynamic, and also result-oriented. For instance, Malaysia was ranked as one of the countries with the lowest female labor participation rate. Thus, the implementation of flexible working arrangement or FWA for women has supported a better work-life balance, ensuring that work at home and also at office become more organized.
To summarize, even though Weberian bureaucracy was introduced to improve the performance of government, but due to the rigidity of the system, lack of work delegation, fixed salaries offered, as well as the complexity of structure, many issues of bureaucracy happened during that time, such as red tape, abuse of power, over-specialization of work, and the total impersonal approach cannot be adopted. This issue can be catered by focusing on employee empowerment, private enterprise involvement, flexibility replacing rigidity, and decentralization of structure.